Aloha! Yeah, apparently not very many of you have been to Hawaii, but you're supposed to say aloha back, so one more time. Aloha! Aloha! Yeah, that was okay. Anyway, first of all, I just want to say how much I really love the theme of this conference, Unbound. I mean, that's what life's about, right? Breaking through boundaries and kind of blazing our own trail. My blog, Rewriting Rules, is just based off of the idea of rewriting the rules of our life the way that we want them to be, and to create the life and a lifestyle that you love and that you want. So, who here likes to skateboard? Raise your hand. It's like 3. Okay. Well, who here likes to take selfies? Raise your hand. Okay, a few more. Well, find me afterwards. I'm the king of both. I can teach all about the angles and the lighting. Anyway, here we go. So, skateboarding is selfies. Kind of go along with my speech here. Today I'm going to talk to you about how to become a sponsored skateboarder when you're really not that good at skateboarding. I mean, I'm pretty okay, but there's a lot of people who are way better than I am. Even my brothers who are sitting in the crowd right here are probably a lot better than I am. But I'm sponsored and they're not, so. Anyway, look at this real quick, and I'm going to go back. What did you notice? Who saw that last slide? Yeah. Did anybody notice how many little black exclamation marks there are? There's 25. How many red ones were there? There's 1, right? Yeah. Because it's different. It stands out. I feel like this kind of sums up my whole life. I've always been this red exclamation mark, Not that that's good or bad, it's pretty weird. It's always been kind of a weird guy. And so, growing up, I loved to do everything. I was really into everything. I just had all these passions. And they would last a few months, and then I'd be really into something else. But once I was into something, I was just into it. That's all I would think about. I loved skateboarding, obviously, but I loved baseball, biking, golf, camping, basketball, snowboarding, fishing, roller skating, even horses. I was really into horses. So it's kind of where I was skater, cowboy, I was everything, and a baseball player. So, but I was curious about everything, and it's kind of the same thing now. I just love exploring and trying new things and discovering new and interesting things. But where I grew up far, far away. And even in America, they think it's far, far away. I don't know if you see anything on this map, but there's not much there. There's a house in the middle. That little white dot is a house. But I don't know if you noticed, there's no other houses around it. And so this is one of the areas I grew up in. And I moved about 13 times growing up. But this is one of the places I lived in. I spent a lot of time in really rural areas, and where I grew up, this little house, there was not even pavement. I mean, there was no cement. But being somebody who loves to skateboard, you can't really skateboard on dirt. And so I had to be really creative and figure out ways to do the things I love. I never had the perfect setting. I didn't have a perfect area to skateboard in. I wasn't in Taiwan, it was concrete jungle. I was in a dirt jungle. And so I had to figure out how to do the things I love. And so I would, get little big pieces of wood and slide them over to our little stretch of concrete or big flat rocks and just figure out ways that I could skateboard. Or when I got into biking, I would go in our backyard and dig up big holes and make bike tracks. And I never planned this out. I didn't realize that my mom would probably not be very excited about me digging big holes in our yard. But it was fun at the moment. I really enjoyed it. So just spontaneous. I was always doing something. I was always trying to be creative and figure out new and fun things to do. And this personality has kind of followed me my whole life. I'm always into something else, every other month. So when I was 19, was the first time I came to Taiwan. I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and I came to Taiwan as a missionary. And before I came to Taiwan, I had no idea what Taiwan really was. I didn't speak any Chinese. I didn't understand the culture here or anything. I was just a young 19-year-old boy who wanted to be a missionary, so I just said, hey, send me somewhere, and I went. And I was here for 2 years, and during my time here, I fell in love with this place. I fell in love with the culture, the language, especially the people and the rich, genuine people that they are. And I also fell in love with this feeling of being abroad, being outside in a new world, a new place, and just doing something that's completely different. And so after my mission, I decided that I had to come back. This was my place. Like I kind of like fell in love with being abroad, so I figured I wanted to come back and do business here and study here. And somewhere along the way, I turned into an entrepreneur. I don't know how it happened, but it's probably just because I can't stay one thing for too long, so I just decided I'm an entrepreneur. And my entrepreneurial journey went through several stages, like 10 or 15 or something of different, startups. And every one of them had one thing in common. Anybody guess what it is? I can't hear anybody, but they all failed. That's what they all had in common. So after, several years of doing that, I was back in Taiwan doing something else again. But even though they failed, and some people tell me, oh, you can't look at it that way. You learned a lot. You're having all these experiences. But to me, it's like, no. I was trying to do something, and it didn't work. I failed. I suck. But just because I failed, it wasn't a waste to me. I did learn a lot, and it was a great experience. I just went into so many different fields and so many different experiences. And so I kind of caught on to this blogging, this marketing thing. I just fell in love with the internet. There's so much I could do. There are so many opportunities. And for the past about 8 years since I first came here, I'd always had this idea that I'm going to take my skateboard and travel around the island on it. Why skateboard? A lot of people ask me this question, why skateboard? And one reason is because I don't want to do what everybody else does. In Taiwan, a lot of you might know this, it's popular to go around the island on a bike or on a scooter or even in a car, but I didn't want to do what everybody else was doing. I want to do things my style, my own way. And so I decided a skateboard would be a really special way to explore Taiwan. And the second reason is a skateboard is slow. I think when you're trying to discover a place or do anything, a skateboard is only a little bit faster than walking, so you don't miss out on the little details, the special intimate connection that you get by going at a really slow pace. And so this past June, I decided that I'd put this off too long. I'd been planning on it and trying to make this perfect trip. I'd been thinking about it for several years. I'm like, oh, okay, this could be so cool. I could do a really cool skateboard trip around. But we have this tendency to think about things too much and try to make them too perfect. We've got this perfect trip planned out, or we're gonna go to college and we're gonna have this perfect life and it's gonna be amazing, whatever. But we don't realize that actually nothing's ever perfect, so you might as well stop even trying, because okay, wait, no. That was bad, okay, try to be perfect, yeah. But nothing's perfect, and so might as well just go and try and just go out and do something. Or it could be worse, you could plan out something perfect for your whole life and end up never doing it. And so this past June, I realized that I've been planning it for too long. So one day I decided, all right, next week I'm going or something. And it was like a Saturday, and next week happened to be the next day. So I got all my stuff together. I got, put it on my bed and packed it, and then just took off. And so here's the video that I just made of my trip.
Story, let's begin. The water's fine, come on, dive in. The future's here, it's right before your eyes. Step by step, you're on your way. Welcome to a brighter day. Don't you know it feels good to be alive? You could be larger than life, bigger than the world, living out the hopes and dreams of every boy and every girl. You could fly higher than the sky, shine brighter than the stars. You could have all you ever wanted, shoot the moon and reach for Mars. You know you could. Yeah, and times are changing everywhere. Do we dream and do we dare? It's up to you, the door is open You could be larger than life, bigger than the world, living out the hopes and dreams of every boy and every girl. You could fly higher than the sky, shine brighter than the stars. You could have all you ever wanted, shoot the moon and reach for Mars. You know you could. Larger, larger than, bigger, bigger than, living hopes and dreams. Every boy and girl, higher, higher than, brighter, brighter than, all you wanted and you know. You could be larger than life, bigger than the world, living out the hopes and dreams of every boy and every girl. You could fly higher than the sky, shine brighter than the stars. You can have all you ever wanted. Larger, larger, bigger, bigger, living hopes and dreams. Every boy, you can fly higher than the sky, shine brighter than the stars. You can have all you ever wanted. You know you could.
I'm pretty good with a selfie stick, huh? Anyway, so doing is better than perfection, right? Facebook had this sign in their office for a long time. It says, "Done is better than perfect," and it was kind of their philosophy about how they developed software or how they manage their projects. And I've taken that and kind of adopted it into my life. And I changed a little bit to doing, just because there's some things that are never done in life, and it's just better to be out there doing and trying. And if you make a perfect plan, you'll realize that you run into things along the way that you hadn't planned for. Like this trip, for example, I took off not knowing which route I was going to take or where I was going to stay at night, because I didn't know where it would take me. I didn't know what I was going to run into. But it was a super amazing experience. I met tons of people on the way who were really supportive of me, came out, gave me a big box of mangoes, or stopped and pulled over, asked if I was lost, or just they either gave me really weird looks or really supportive looks. It depends on if I was in the city or kind of in the more rural areas. But this one video has given me so many different opportunities that I never dreamed of. Now I get to work with companies and brands and sponsors that I'd loved since I was a little kid, and that I never had even thought of I'd have the opportunity to work with. And a lot of people ask me, how long did you plan this out? How did you do it? How much did you spend? Well, I spent about $2,000 NT, it took about 5 days, and $2,000. I spent like $800 on hostels and about the rest on food. I stole the backpack from my dad, and I used a 4-year-old skateboard and some old holy shoes with no socks, and that's pretty much all I took. A change of clothes. But sometimes we just gotta plan things all out. People ask me, well, didn't you prepare a new skateboard or spare wheels? I didn't even think about it. What if my skateboard broke? I don't know, just walk, I guess. But I just went. But it didn't, And if it had, there'd been a cool video. Could have put that on YouTube, something. But so just not thinking about it, just going out and doing. And the thing is, 99% of the people just watch. Only 1%, YouTube, for example, less than 1% of YouTube viewers have ever posted a video to YouTube. 99% of the people out there are just consumers. They just watch other people doing amazing things. And it's not just on YouTube, it's in the world. The people who are changing the world and making a difference are just a little, 1%. Because most people are just on the sidelines. It's the people who are out there doing, not waiting for the perfect opportunity or the perfect plan, the perfect, whatever. They're just out there doing and trying and doing things and failing and then trying again. So once you become the 1%, once you become the doer, you meet a lot of these dirty crabs. Anyway, so I'll tell you a little short story about crabs, okay? So Hawaii, aloha, Hawaii. I heard this from a guy who grew up in Hawaii. He told me about when he was a kid, him and his dad would go to the beach and catch crabs. And they would bury a bucket in the sand, about that deep and just a little bit sticking out of the sand. And they'd bury it in there. I think they'd put a little water in there. And then once they caught a crab, they'd throw it in the bucket. And they would catch crabs for a few hours and just throw them in the bucket whenever they caught one. And this kid, he'd caught one crab, and the bucket had already had a few crabs in there, and he went to take this crab and throw it in the bucket. He noticed one of the crabs was crawling out. It was about to get to the top, and he yelled to his dad, "Hey, Dad, one of these crabs is about to crawl out. What should we do?" And his dad said, "Don't worry about it. Just get back over here. Get back to work. It's not going to crawl out." But he kept watching, and he's like, "No, Dad, it's really going to crawl out. It's almost out. It's like reaching to the top." And this time his dad was like, "No, it's not. Just hurry up. Get back over here. It's not going to get out of the bucket." But this kid, he was really stubborn. So he's like, "No, I think it's going to get out." So he sat there and he watched it for 45 minutes. He watched this crab. And after 45 minutes, the crab never made it out of the bucket, even though the bucket kept getting fuller and fuller. What he realized was every time one of the crabs was about to get to the top, one of the other crabs underneath it grabbed it and pulled it back down. And so this happened every time one was about to get to the top, this crab would just pull it back down. And so in life, you'll meet a lot of crabs. You'll meet a lot of people. You'll meet more that support you, probably. But you'll still run into crabs because people, they get uncomfortable when you're about to go do something great or something crazy or something really interesting. They're like, "Oh, why can't I do that?" No, just come back here. That's not good. Okay, just stay back in the bucket. It's a lot nicer in here. But that's not where you want to be. You don't want to be in a bucket full of crabs. You want to be out, in the ocean or something. Today, in our day and age, you can do anything you want to do. Before, back, even my parents' generation, if you wanted to travel the world, you wanted to, if you were passionate about blogging, if you were passionate about skateboarding, there wasn't the resources that we have now. Now, if you want to learn anything or do anything, it's all available to us for free and really easily at our fingertips. For example, video editing. I edited that video, and before that, I'd only posted one video to YouTube. And how did I learn how to edit that video? I just watched it on YouTube, I watched like a dozen videos, how to edit videos, and then I was like a pro. It's like, so I watched like 20 more and I could, make movies. So same thing with photography. I know nothing about photography, but now I do stuff on my fans page and people are like, "Oh, that's an amazing picture. Who took that for you? How did you edit it?" And like sometimes I feel bad to tell them, and I'm just like, "No, I just have my phone, I put it on a garbage can, and then you just like press the timer." And then I use Snapseed, like there's only like 4 buttons. I just press one and it like kind of cleaned it up, made it look all nice, and that's pretty much all I did. So, but there's resources, so many resources available to us. You don't have to go to there's no excuse saying that I'm really into photography or I really want to know how to design websites. Same thing with my website. I didn't know how to do websites at all, but now I can do any websites. Just watch, a dozen YouTube videos and you can learn anything. So there's no excuse. There's so many resources available to you, and there's so many opportunities, whether it be traveling, whether it be if you're into photography, video editing, anything there's resources out there that are available for you, just waiting for you to take advantage of them and use them. But so few people do. Like if of all the people here, who's going to go back and learn something new? Including me. It's just we don't take advantage of all this available for us. But there's so many resources out there. It's just, what do we want to be? Do we want to be a black one of the 25, or do we want to be a red? Or do we want to stand out? Do we want to be changing the world? Do we want to be exploring and having new experiences? I feel experiences, more than anything, are priceless. Having different experiences and learning are something that you can have with you forever. So, rocket ship. The first step is always the hardest. Breaking through and going out and doing something is always the hardest step. This rocket ship, in order to break through the atmosphere, uses up 60% of its fuel within the first 2 minutes of, it could be a 2-month flight. But in the first 2 minutes, it has to use up all this energy just to break through. And that's the same in life. Sometimes it's always the first steps that's the hardest. But once you break through, everything starts to go. Everything starts to flow well, and you get more and more opportunities as you go along. So I think here we are in the spring times of our lives, Don't spend your life preparing and planning and planning away the spring and the summer of your life, and wait until it's fall before you go and do something. Because by the time you reach fall, it's cold. You're not going to be able to enjoy the beautiful weather. Live every day of your life to the fullest and go and do things. Always be doing, creating, exploring. Anyway, if you want to follow me on social media, go for it.